All right. So let's walk through sort of this overview of assembly. And assembly is really intended here for multiple parties to really extend their voice in the political process. And this is directed towards advocacy groups and sort of like smaller campaigns. So let's start with what I think the problems are. And the first one is public policy is very complex. So if you look at the slide on the right hand slide, I have some snippets of an actual ballot and the list of the ballots and the titles. So it's like dialysis clinic requirements, tax on income for zero emissions vehicles, um, funding initiatives, plastic waste reduction regulations. Like these are fairly substantive things, but most voters don't have the time or perhaps even the critical thinking to reach a conclusion where they feel comfortable voting when something is so complicated. And then what is the source? Literally the other day I heard from somebody who said, yeah, social media was their primary source for political information. But if you actually look carefully at the data, and I have snippets here also on the slide, it shows uh, social media affects mental health. Social media is a source for trolling. I call them trolling palaces. That there's research that there about the amount of misinformation related to elections. And my belief is that this amplification may really, help the extremes, but it turns off the persuadables, those in the middle. And so social media is like being a shouting match in the public square. It's not a great experience. The public square for a place for people to actually understand information when it's been amplified and I would say even weaponized is not a really good experience. The counterpoint to this, that's the opposite of an interrupt driven social media experience, I would say, is teaching. And the teaching has solid, concise, and they're incentivized to actually learn the material, which is, I think, a key piece. And concise argument based content does change minds. I have now two posts, two podcasts on the topic, and will continue to bring on experts to talk about this. But I want to introduce the counterpart is teaching. Somebody actually has a way to learn in a concise manner about the topics on both sides and then reach a decision. The other part is had a conversation with a former congressional candidate the other day, and they did a great job of bringing people in real life. They had these rallies, but often there's like a big drop off. So if you look at this slide on the right hand side, they have these QR codes. Now, QR codes became super popular. And what if you could extend all the excitement and the mobilization through your mailers and your posters and your t-shirts, and then people were then able to scan and then have a more sort of quiet experience learning about your issues. That would extend and leverage in real life experiences into a persuasion environment. So here I describe, based on those trends, what is the assembly experience. So the first one is, your content is structured as learning. They're very short, fact based, well reasoned arguments that are just right on the phone, really easy to view. Then the second part, which is the opposite really of social media, is quizzes to ensure understanding, and they're rewarded with rewards from our app. uh, but the quizzes allow a way to ensure some understanding with key points. And then I think an opportunity that emerges from that experience, if we can get it right, is it makes it easier to share knowledge. Learners can more easily share what they've learned. It's different from expressing their opinion, which I think is what's sort of undermined political discourse. But they can say, well, I really like this course, or here's something that really, helped me see things in another way. And they don't really like get out there really like explosively. Now, Twitter will be what it is, and people will probably still troll the person for sharing it to some degree, but it's more useful information. And that's our hypothesis, which we want to, work with partners to experiment with. And so here's a part where if you liking what you're seeing or hearing, how we would work with these early partners. So we want to discuss your goals, such as how many people you reach, what's your challenges in terms of working with activating your community. Give you some guidance on how to co-create your course, and it's very simple. It's sort of like keep it short. Don't have big blocks of text. It should be like 3 lines at most on the thing on the phone. test it. We create a custom landing page that loads with your brand and your course within our app, and then launch and monitor it. So I want to spend a little bit of time when I say, well, what is this actual ad format? And the reason why is, long term, or maybe even by the midterms, sort of like as we kind of like prove out this model, is it'll eventually be a paid advertising scenario where advertisers who maybe don't have the reach of an advocacy or a grassroots campaign would actually pay. And so we talk about this ad format, but for those of you who are really early into this relationship with us, those will be free. So the ad format consists of two parts. The first one is it's an argument. It's very succinctly think, why does it matter? What are you trying to convey? And the second part is the quiz. So if you're checking this out, if you're listening on the podcast, go to the podcast notes. If you're receiving this, getting this on YouTube, you should be able to see um, the slide right here, but it's also in your notes. So check out the link. If you click on the link, it's my personal invite, and then you can download the app. But there's also a QR code which you can scan, and you can experience what happens when you scan the QR code. So if you have questions, put them in the comments. Download the app, try it out, and if you're an organization that believes your side can really benefit by clear, concise arguments, and you're able to mobilize people, we're specifically targeting those that work with college campuses. Those we find to be the most open. That's easier to sort of reach and test and try new things. So if you've got organizations that really work closely with campuses, this is a great opportunity. So this is a shorter, episode than normal, but we'll resume sort of more of our deep dives into some other things shortly. Thanks again for watching.